Ready, BC?
Let's get it.
Okay. So everyone, today we have Branden Thomson, top entrepreneur, new music artist actually engaging in the field. And that's actually what we're going to talk about a little bit today. Branden, go ahead and just say something to the people so we can go ahead and get into it.
What's going on, family? All the listeners out there, I appreciate y'all for tapping in with what Trent has going on. I have honestly no idea what we're going to talk about, so this is going to be fun. So let's get into it.
Bet. So I'm actually really excited about this. I've been thinking about this all day. So I already know how I kind of really wanted to structure this. Have you ever heard of an alter ego?
Yes.
Right. So the way when I hear about you, like your life story, and when I think about like how I've known you in the last 2 years, I feel like you've gone through like these different, personalities of people you embody. And I kind of want to go through each one and then kind of get a total of who Branden Thomson is. So first, if you could tell us a little bit about, your background, where you're from, and anything that before you got involved in entrepreneurship, who were you before you were an entrepreneur?
Okay. So I was born and raised in Houston, Texas. But, when I say born and raised in Houston, Texas, you know what I'm saying? I say that in a simplistic way. So people don't get too confused about, what's going on with, where I'm really from or where I grew up. So when I say I'm born and raised in Houston, Texas, that is very much true. But there's a pocket, there's a small pocket where I did move around because my dad was in the military. So I was born in Houston, Texas, but after about, 1 year old, my dad had already enlisted into the military and he was living in Germany. So I had moved out to Germany with my pops and my mom. So I actually lived in Germany for 4 years. So I was in Germany from 1 to about 5 years old. And then after that, we moved to Colorado Springs, and we were in Colorado Springs for about 1.5 years. So I ended up finding myself moving back to Texas at 7 years old. I did like maybe half a semester in second grade, and then I ended up moving back to Houston, and I spent the rest of my time. So from second grade till I got out of high school, I was in Houston. So those are important years. But that Germany, Colorado, I vividly remember it, and it definitely is a part of my growing up for sure.
So you have like some memories of what it was like in Germany.
Absolutely. I remember where I lived. I remember going to school and recess. I remember like those moments, like in its entirety. But it's like crazy because I know a lot of people don't remember back that far, but
Right.
I still have like memories of being in Germany.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Learning something new. So technically, well, born from second grade to high school, Houston, Texas, and after that, after you got out of school, what was the first thing you pursued, and what made you choose, to go in that direction?
Um, so when I graduated from high school, the only thing that I could really say that I was sure about was playing basketball. Like that's all I had really did for probably I probably started taking basketball super serious around 8th grade, going into my freshman year in high school. And so I felt I found a passion for it. My work ethic is just, I have a very obsessive um, personality. So if I find something I like, I want to be good at it. So I'll go crazy. So I have been doing that for the last 5 years. So that's all I knew. And so going into college, I didn't really have an idea of what I wanted to do from a career path as far as, curriculum or actual like major. So, me being in that sports world for so long and not really, weighing my options in that time, I was like, maybe I want to be a sports marketing agent or do sports marketing or sports management, and not really knowing what that was, but just playing in my comfort zone of what I understood. And, my mom, shout out to her. She wasn't really having it. She was like, you need to find a school where you can go and it's going to actually mean something. Don't just go because of basketball. You need to go where, what I'm saying, it'll mean something when you graduate. It'll actually hold some type of weight. And for me, I mean, it went in one ear and out the other. And so, my mom actually tricked me into, going to college, just to be honest. She had me write this essay, and I didn't know what it was for, but she told me to write it. I forget the topic, but I remember she told me to write an essay, and she came back like a couple months later and just said you got in, and I was confused.
So she did the whole application for you.
Yeah, she did the whole application for me. If it was up to me, I wouldn't have did it, but she definitely tricked me in filling out an application to Hampton University, in which I did get in, and I started there. Still didn't really know what I wanted to do. And so, you know, I started at Hampton University in Virginia.
Okay, HBCU. Okay, noted. So when you went there, just like for your undergrad years type of thing?
Yeah, I was at Hampton. So this is the crazy story. So I was at Hampton for 4 years, right? 4 full years. So I went from 18 to 22. I was at Hampton. And I didn't really know what I wanted to do until probably my sophomore year. And then I picked up engineering. And the only reason I picked up engineering was not because I was passionate about it. I was just like, okay, school is clearly expensive. If I'm going to come out with the same amount of debt or pay the same price as all the other students, shouldn't I pick a career that pays more than all the other people? So I was like, I'm not really tripping about it being hard. It's like, we're all paying the same price. So why not put in the work to come out with a potential to have a higher salary? So that was my logic. I was like, I'm not going to just do something just because it's easy. Like, I'm thinking 4 years down the road. So I picked electrical engineering, and I was doing a dual degree program. So I was going to come out with computer and engineering. So, I mean, with computer and electrical engineering. And so the program was about 5 to 6 years, depending on how fast you could do it in 5 years, but 6 years to come out with 2 bachelor degrees. And so going into my 4th year, I actually got a co-op opportunity with this company called Orbital Sciences, and they were doing a project, or they had a contract with NASA. So they had picked me up, and I had took the fall semester off of 2012. So fall semester 2012, I did not go to school. I was doing a co-op working for Orbital Sciences. I came back spring 2013. And what happened was, financial aid, the way it was set up, it wasn't set up for me clearly for that semester. And if anybody knows about Hampton, at the time it was like 28,000 for the year. So it's pretty expensive. And I was just like, I was already down. You know what I'm saying? I had saved money and I had made money from my co-op. So I was like, man, I was going to use this to pay for an apartment. And so now, because I didn't get as much money as I needed from financial aid, I was going to have to use the money I made from the co-op to pay for school. And I was like, absolutely not, because I already know what that situation is, not having any money. And, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, school is paid for, but now you're struggling the whole semester. You can't even focus on class like you want to, because your bills is on the line and you trying to eat and things of that nature. So I made a executive decision, and I didn't enroll in school. I didn't enroll back in Hampton in spring 2013. And side note, I had the time I was working at Hampton, I was working at Lowe's. So I was doing seasonal positions. I was doing like part-time positions where I could work on the weekends or whatever, or, you know, just seasonal positions where I could work during school and it not be full-time, and they still give me a little bit of bread to pay my rent. So when I came back,
when you did the co-op, it was just the co-op, no school, just straight.
It was the co-op, no school, no Lowe's. I actually had told Lowe's, and they was like, congratulations, we'll hold you're still eligible to come back when you're done with your co-op. So when I came back, I didn't enroll in school, but I still said, let me stack some more bread, you know what I'm saying? Let me keep making more money just in case I got to, you know, pivot. So yeah. I worked at Lowe's January, probably all the way to March. And I decided to take my talents back to Houston, Texas. So I did not re-enroll back in school. So now I want you to do the math on this. I had taken out first semester to do a co-op, and now I took off another semester because I just didn't have the bread. And I ended up coming back to Houston, and I applied to a few schools that would take my credits, because I was like, man, I can't continue to pay this money. I know it's crazy. I'd already went in debt. I was at the school for 4 years. I got a co-op and an internship, but now it's like, I can't do it. I got to pivot. So I went all the way back home. I picked TSU, U of H, and Prairie View. TSU didn't have my major. U of H wasn't an HBCU. Prairie View took the bulk of my credits and was an HBCU. So I said, okay, cool, let me go there. So at the time, I needed 130 credits, 35 credits to graduate. I had 120.
Okay, you
from
right
Hampton.
Yeah.
At 120, I was right there. But they only took 80. So when I went to Prairie View, they took 80 credits of the 120. So I lost pretty much like a whole year in some change of school. And the good thing and how God works is just crazy, because what happened was, at the time, my dad had just got eligible for what they call the Hazelwood Act. The Hazelwood Act allows your dependents to go to school 100% free tuition for if they go to school in the state that you're a resident in. So thank God my dad had literally just got eligible. School was in Texas. He was living in Texas. So Prairie View was 100% free. I didn't have to pay tuition. So even though I had to go to school longer than I anticipated, 100% tuition, I didn't get no loans, no nothing. I actually got money back. And the experience was much different.
Type.
But
was it like, so it was 4 years at Howard and
Hampton. 4 years at Hampton.
At Hampton, and then how many years at PV? Like, overall, how long were you in like the secondary school?
Oh my God, PV. So I transferred in fall 2013, and I graduated spring 2016. So what's that? A 2.5 years. So that gives about 5 semesters. I had to do 5 semesters at PV. And honestly, as painful as it sounds just talking about it, because that's a lot of school.
Right.
It damn near, like, if you add the years I didn't go, it pretty much took me like 8 years to finish. Like, if you think about it, it took me 8 years. I didn't graduate until I was 26. And so you could just imagine my mindset, like being in school and being like, bro, I'm over this. I already did this. Like,
that's what I'm thinking. Like, what kept you? Because I'm already.
A lot of people would have gave up. I'm telling you that right now.
Yeah, they are. They're giving you 80 credits. So you were like, I guess you were still just focused on, I need the salary. I want the salary. I want to be able to make more than what other people are making. It's worth it to be an engineer type.
I was still on that. I was like, it's still worth it. So, and I remember sitting in the dean's office and her telling me I was going to have to do at least, 3 years to finish. And I was like, bro, I just did 4 at Hampton. And I remember seeing this little like block behind her desk, and I forget the exact scripture, but the scripture read, "Be still, trust God." And I remember that time, like vividly, I was like, dang. I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and knock it out. So it's crazy when in retrospect, when I was at school at Hampton, I feel like I was just going through the motions. I was floating. I didn't really know who I was. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And by the time I got to Prairie View, I know exactly who I was, what I wanted to do, what I was good at, what I wasn't good at. And so I feel like God gave me another opportunity to do it even better, do it the right way. So like my first semester at Prairie View, I got not a scholarship, but a internship with the Boeing company. So my first semester transferring in, like, so I came in already on fire, because like getting an internship in the engineer department, like that's like getting drafted to the NBA. Like, yo, you heard about Branden? He just got intern with Boeing. Like, so you all automatically start getting clout from the people in that building. They start looking at you different. You get respect. Like, bro,
yeah,
handle me differently, bro.
You for the co-op. How did they find you? I was gonna ask. So they found you for the co-op. They found you for the internship. So clearly, like engineering, whether it's computer or electrical, was low key. Like, even though you just chose it for the finances, like it still was like your thing type of thing. You were killing it.
Right. I understood what I needed to do to be marketable in that industry. And I understood it wasn't a lot of us in that industry. So like they gotta hire us. Like, and it's not a lot of people going for that position that look like me that go to HBCU. So when those companies come to your school, if you got all this stuff, I had already had a couple internships. I had already done a lot of stuff. So when they looked at my resume, they was like, oh yeah, for sure. Right. It was a shoo-in. And then I got the interview, killed it. Long story short, I end up, having that internship. They hired me back two summers in a row, and they hired me full time before I even graduated Prairie View. I was able to cross Alpha Alpha Fraternity Incorporated at Prairie View as well. I was the president of IEEE, which is like pretty much if you're in the STEM program, if you're anything science, technology, engineering, math, and you want to be in IEEE because they focus on robotics and a lot of the upcoming technology within that space, and you just get to be a part of, what's new and what how can we bridge that between what's out there in the real world and then bringing that to college, so people can prepare. So I was the president, like, what I'm saying? I was actually involved in doing things. So my experience at Prairie View was totally different than what it was at Hampton. So by the time I graduated, like my stuff was stacked. I was in a whole nother mindset. So graduated 2016, May 2016, and I moved to California. I moved to Long Beach, California, June 2016 to start my career at Boeing. That's kind of like, you know what I'm saying? New chapter.
Fact. New chapter for sure. So like this whole time that you were like pursuing this career path, like had you ever really considered yourself ever owning your own business or like really being an entrepreneur in the future at the time? Because you said at Hampton, you were still like finding yourself. So like, was that one of the things you considered, or you already knew that at that time specifically, you're like, okay, I'm just gonna find a job, work the job, and da da da.
I never really wanted to work a job. Like I always had that mindset that I wanted to just make enough money so that I can create other things. So like if that started with a job or if that started with some type of business, whatever it was, I always knew that I didn't want to do anything traditional because like just watching my mom growing up, like she didn't work a job, like she had her own business. So that's kind of all I was used to seeing. So I wasn't like saying, oh, I want to get this job. I was like, let me get this money because I know if I get this money, I'll have options. But I mean, growing up, like, and more specifically when I was in college at Hampton, like even when I was like, and this is, I'm good now, so I can tell this story. But I was a hustler, like, you know what I'm saying? Like I even though I was working a job, I knew that wasn't enough. So I was like, I had to do other things. So like I was Uber before Uber was Uber. I was Uber Eats before Uber Eats was Uber Eats. Let me tell you why. 2011, I had a Honda Accord, 2006 Honda Accord, right? And I was broke and I was trying to figure it out. And I was working at Lowe's, but it just wasn't enough, right? So during the week, I had to figure it out because I only worked on the weekend. So I said, okay, cool. What I did was I made flyers. I put them up in all the dorms. So I was like, if you need a ride, call me up. You need me to pick up food. This was before Uber Eats. This is 2011. I was doing this and people were calling me and I was charging like $5 to pick up your food. I was calling the taxis nearby because they didn't have no Ubers. I was like, how much are you gonna charge to go from here to the mall? So if they said 20, I would just say 15 to beat the prices. So I was already an entrepreneur trying to figure out ways to get money before, you know what I'm saying, I was gonna go find another job or try to get a second job or something. I was like, okay, let me figure stuff out. And even when I was at Lowe's, you know what I'm saying, it's illegal. I was stealing a little. Okay, I was stealing, all right, a little bit. It's okay. It is what it is. I was in college, but let me give you the system. Let me give you the system. Whoever watching this, it is what it is. Hey, I don't steal no more. But I had to survive. So I was working outside lawn and garden, and at the front they leave like kind of like they flagship product, what they trying to push that day. So it might be topsoil, it might be mulch, it might be It might be like some the little I forgot what they call those the little grass, like you can buy like yards of grass. I forgot what they're called, but they will put those things at the front because that's what they're pushing for today. So like, for instance, when the mulch came in the top, so I was like, yes, more so because those busted bags, we would have to mark them down because it's loss prevention. Okay, cool, busted bag, you tie it up, you mark it down 60%, 50%, 75%, whatever, every time a busted bag comes. So it was always a loophole. So what I used to tell people that come to the front, I say, look, pay for 5, I'll give you 10. And you give me the cash of the difference. But the cash value is gonna be half of what you would pay if you paid full price. So let's say you pay for 10 bags in full, it's $100, right? I'm not gonna charge you $100, right? Because I'm gonna charge you $75 because you're gonna go pay for 5, which is 50, and then you're gonna get these other 5 for half the price of what you would have paid if you would have paid at the register. So they was doing that all day long. Oh, I can get 10 for $75. I can get 20 for 150. Yeah. And so they was paying me cash. So I was making in a day what I was making in 2 weeks on my check.
So you going up to customers like, which like, hey,
not everyone.
Talk to me, come on, talk to me in the aisle, or how you finding out?
I had to, you can't do it to everybody. I would have got caught. You know who to do it to. You can feel the energy, you can hear the conversation. And so, you know, I would go off of my discernment, like, okay, who can I do this with? So it wasn't everybody. I was like, okay, no, I could definitely talk real with them. I could definitely talk real with them. I would just kind of test the temperature to see what type of person they was. And then I like 100% from the field, never got caught. 100% from the field, I never got caught. Now, there were some people that did, but they got greedy, and you know how people do.
Right. Oh, so you weren't the only one running the play. Like it was.
No. People just over leverage. You over leverage, and you lose your job. You know what I'm saying? So you be like, oh, I got 200 for the day. I'm good. You're good, bro. Chill. You're good. You don't need any more, bro. Like, relax.
Yeah, so Uber and Uber Eats. So you were hustling at the Lowe's and you were delivering food and driving people places. That's like, okay. So you already had the mindset. It was nothing new. All right, so tell me a little bit about the chapter of what it was like living in California. Boeing, you just got out of college, you feel me, fresh graduate, and you out in Cali. What was it like?
It was dope because, like, you know, we just talked about how it took me a while to get through undergrad. So it was like, man, this was worth it. This was worth it. Like, I got a 6-figure job. I had bought a Range Rover cash. I moved out there in 2016. I had a 2013 Range Rover. So I felt on top of the world. I just got my own apartment, 1-bedroom apartment. I was downtown Long Beach. I was living by the beach. I was like, man, this is why you don't give up. This is why you keep going, because I thought I was behind because, you know, I'm watching some of my classmates, you know, get jobs and travel and buy cars. And, you know, you start looking at your life like, dang, I'm still in school. Like, I ain't even started. People buying homes. I'm like, man. So I felt behind, but like when I had that breakthrough, I moved to Cali. I was like, bro, who don't want to live in Cali? I don't know none of my friends living in Cali and making 6 figures. Like, I'm different. It's just different over here. Like, this makes up for lost time for real. But outside of like being aesthetically enticed and pleased by, you know, by everything around me, it was more so like just getting used to working a job, like, and when I worked the internship, I knew it was gonna be over in 3 months, like, oh, back to school. But then like it started to kick in, like, okay, what's next? Because like at the intern, I know, okay, I go back to school. Or, you know, at the end of the semester, okay, cool, it's the next semester. Or it's something, it's always, but then when you get into the real world, that it's easy to be like, this is it. Because there is nothing next. You literally have to create something. There's no more blueprint. The next blueprint is just keep working, stack your bread until you die. That's literally it. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, dang, like you get to a space in the real world where it's like, there is no more blueprint for you to go further. You have to be that person to say, okay, I got to create something more. I got to give people a reason to be proud of me again. That's kind of my own, because I'm like, okay, I graduate middle school, I graduate high school, I graduate college. Branden, what is the next time you're going to be celebrated for something? That was literally my mindset. Like, when is the next time somebody's going to clap because you did something good? And I knew it wasn't me getting a promotion. That wasn't big enough. I knew it wasn't that. So I was like, I always had that mindset. And so it didn't take me long to start looking again, that hustler mentality. What else can I do? What else can I get into in order to make more money? Because I said, I know this isn't it. It's 6 figures is great, but where is the growth? Where's the promotion? Outside of just saying, oh, you get a raise or you get this. I need something that's more impactful, more profound, and more prolific for me. So what I did was I just started looking for other things to get into. Like, I started looking, how can I get into the cannabis industry, right? How can I, because at that time, now you're on the West Coast, the conversation is different. It's legal. So I started looking into that, but I never got in at that time because it was first of all, we're talking about 2016. So it was super regulated. It's way, way more free now, but back then it was still kind of like a lot of rules and regulations were in place to keep, people from really getting into that space. So like, that was really hard for me. And as far as trying to figure out how to get in, so I kind of left that alone. And then, like, honestly, it didn't take too much longer after that I came across Forex.
So how did you come across? Walk us. How'd you even, get introduced to it? And then what were your first thoughts when you first heard about it?
So I remember I was in downtown Long Beach, and there's a Ross walking distance from where I was staying, maybe like 7-minute walk. And I needed like some socks and, some little undergarments, whatever. So I remember going to Ross, and I remember no, I take that back. I'm too far ahead of myself. I was at one of my mentors, because I was in this rotational program. I was at my mentor's house. It's crazy. It's at my mentor's house, Toric Blankton. His name is Toric Blankton. He's Ghanaian. He's from Ghana. Yeah, Ghanaian. I think I did that right. So
like, that was like a company, like he was like high up in your company and he mentored you, or would you?
So when I came into Bowen, I came in through this leadership program. So it's like I actually, like, my last year at my internship, I did an interview to get into a 2-year rotational program where every 6 months you move to different sectors of the business. You get a different team, different manager. So I came in a rotational program, and there's a class. It's a 2-year program. So like, there's classes low. So my class was 2018, and then his class was 2017. So he was graduating a year before me, but he was mentoring me because he had already been where I'd been, and everybody was assigned a mentor. So he was my mentor, and name is Toric Blankton. And I was at his crib because he lived 2 floors up from where I stayed, right? And went up there, and we were playing FIFA, and shout out to DL Moneyman Woods. He interrupted us while we was playing FIFA, and he calls me to talk about, how am I multiplying my money? So that's exactly, it was a Friday. He called me on a Friday, and I stepped out on the balcony, and I just, I entertained the conversation. And then I said, you know what, let me just think about it, and I'm gonna get back to you. So I let a couple days go by. Sunday is when I went to Ross, and I started thinking about going back to work, of course. And that's when I said, let me call DL back, and let me revisit the conversation. And I remember vividly saying, bro, so you telling me I don't gotta sign nobody up to make money? Like, you tell me I can make money from my phone? Like, that don't got nothing to do with enrolling. Like, if I never signed nobody up, I could still make $1 million. I had to be clear, because I had already did companies. Like, that wasn't my first time. So that's why I was like, okay, long as I don't gotta sign nobody up to win, I can learn how to invest and make $1 million off of that. now this sounds like something I want to do. So it only took me 48 hours to pull the trigger. I signed up, and I'll be real. I'm not gonna blame DL. I'm not gonna blame him. I'm not gonna blame him for my lack of plugging into the I Am Academy and watching the videos. I'm not gonna really blame him. You know, it was new. You know, he might have told me to do it or not do it, or maybe it just wasn't clear, right? It was a new world. I was confused. But before I even watched the I Am video, before I opened up the harmonic scanner or any swipe trades that I had access to that I didn't really know that I had access to, I downloaded MetaTrader 4. It was just crazy. And I learned how to use MetaTrader 4 just by trial and error. I didn't watch a video. I literally was playing with, just like you got on Instagram and you figured it out. I literally was playing. That's how I got cold at MetaTrader 4 and understanding how to take partial profits, just playing and touching stuff. So by the time that it started to click and make sense on, bro, you can actually educate yourself and not just guess in the demo. Like, cause I would wake up mornings, trade up $7,000, $8,000, like just playing around, not understanding lot sizes and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, have another conversation with DL. And I'm like, I'm actually at the point now where I'm like, I don't know. I see it, but I don't really know how to really do this. Like, I don't know if this is something I'm gonna be able to do right now. And he was like, bro, did you know about the harmonic scanner? Have you watched any of the videos? This is when he starts hitting me with all the education talk. And I'm like, harmonic scanner, what's that? He said, bro, go to your laptop right now. Opened it up. I'm like, bro, are you serious? It's telling me where to get in. Now, this is 2017. So, like, harmonic scanner is looking crazy to me right now. I'm like, oh, my God. No, it's no way. It's telling you where it's going. So that kept me in. That kept me in another month. I said, okay, cool. Let me start educating myself now. Now I started watching the videos. I was already 3 months in, though. Took me 3 months to actually watch the video.
Demo, practicing, figuring it out yourself, and then you're like, okay, time to plug in to what I paid.
Time to plug in, right? Now I'm plugging in. I remember, now I'm making good money, right? At Boeing. So like, it was easy to put in $200 in the market. I put $200 in, and I remember that, you know, I was able to, you know, make $100 in 2 days off of that $200. And that's when the game changed for me. I said, okay, I've seen enough. I believe it. Now I feel like this is what's going to take me out of corporate America. Like, if I can make $100 off in 2 days, imagine what I can do with $2,000. Like, if I'm doing this in 2 days, like, I don't need that much money to walk off. Like, I can, like, I live beneath my means. So I'm like, if I could just make $5,000 a month, I can really get out of here. That's all I need.
Escape plan. That's the escape plan.
That was my escape plan. I was like, if I can make 5, I'm out. So I go on to, you know, immerse myself in the skill. And now I'm becoming an advocate. Now I'm looking at the world differently because I know that $100 can be made from your cell phone. Now, what's happening is I'm starting to have $1,000 days, $2,000 days. And now I'm like, oh yeah, I'm out of here. I'm not trying to build. This is me before I even start building. I'm off the trading alone. I'm like, I'm out of here. June 2018, I'm done. That was the day that was the month I was graduating the program. I said, as soon as I'm done with this program, I'm done. I'm not gonna find no place in no group. I'm done. Long story short, June 2018 came around, right? I had been trading, I had been making money, and I was like, okay, cool. They give me a raise for $25,000 extra a year. Now, granted, I'm making money trading. I think at the time I was like a P2000.
Oh, so you were, okay. So
I had started building. Yeah. Gradually, not even like super, let's run this thing up. I was just like P2000. Because if you think about it, 75 people is not a lot of people. It really isn't. Over a year span, it's not.
Okay. So yeah.
And I probably did that. What'd you say?
We're building the business like part-time type thing.
I was building the business part-time. I wasn't you gotta think, Bryce was one of my people. So it wasn't hard to build out those other two legs to P2000. It's just not. Bryce had 30 on his own, cool. And then I found 45 outside myself. So 2000 wasn't that hard to attain. And so I'm making $2,000 a month. I'm making money trading, and I'm making six figures at my. What more do I need? Like I'm saying, okay, cool, multiple streams. I'm saying to myself, you know what? I don't need to walk off my job. I'm good. This is what I'm saying to myself. Why would I walk off? It's not stressful. I'm making good money. Let me stay a little bit longer. So I final place in aircraft maintenance engineering, and I gave it 6 months, and I was miserable. And I said, okay, cool. Let me go ahead and walk off this job. What my goal? Still, a whole year and some change later, $5,000. I said, if I could just make $5,000 a month, I'm out of here. And I said, okay, I could do it trading. But, at the end of the day, I was real with myself. I said, some days, some weeks, some months, you're not going to hit your goal. You need to make $5,000 for sure. It's coming in. It's a little bit more concrete. So I said, I got to hit P5.
Question. Okay, so question. Was the new position miserable because the workload changed, or just because your perspective on how you made your money changed and now you just couldn't look at it the same?
No, because I'll be real with you, Trent. Like, Boeing is an amazing company. Boeing is an amazing company. When you talk about pay, when you talk about benefits, incentives, it's second to none as far as like competitiveness in offering, their employees like whatever to come to their company. So it's like it wasn't no like hellhole. I just realized that like after encountering certain people and the culture and really understanding who I was, I said I don't belong here. Not long term. I won't last. I'll lose myself. And I was like, okay, I got to figure a way to get out of this space so I could at least maybe going Chairman 100. That was not even a thought. It was, once again, I was like, if I can make money a certain amount, I could at least have the option to start doing other things. And I felt like I didn't really have options there because a lot of my time, I started looking at time differently, not necessarily money. I was like, bro, a lot of my time is going to this place where I know I'm not going to grow. And I know I don't want to really be here long term. So I had to make a decision to free myself, not to free myself to attach myself to something else, but just to free myself to get to a space where I could be more creative and say, okay, is this what I really want to do? Or am I just doing this because this is all I have right now? So once I got to P5, I walked off my job. And so it was at that point, I was like, okay, cool. I walked off my job. I don't have, it's no guarantee no more. It's no, you getting a check every 2 weeks. There's none of that. Now it's like, it's all on you. So my mindset at the time was like, okay, if it got me here and I started to really take this building thing serious, probably I'll say I started really taking it serious like fourth quarter of 2018 is when I said, okay, I really want to get off my job. Right. Fourth quarter 2018 is when I said, okay, I'm P2. I've been P2 for 15 months at this point. I was P2 for 15 months. Okay. Not because I wanted to be, but it was just I wasn't trying to really push it. Mm-hmm. And so I said, okay, cool. If I'm going to get over this hump, I got to really focus. So I was like, man, I was able to go from P2 to P5, walk off my job in a short amount of time. Where can I be in this thing if I go 100%? Where would that put me? Let me just see. Because I gave school 8 years, didn't give me what I wanted. I gave Boeing, if we go internship to when I walked off, I gave Boeing 4.5 years, didn't get what I really wanted. So I said, this is the fastest success I've seen based off of my own effort. And I know what I can do. So what if I go all in? Where is that gonna put me? And honestly, the rest is history, because within 8 months of me making that decision, I went from working a full-time job at Boeing, making 6 figures a year, to making 6 figures a month, to being an industry icon, and people all over the world knew who I was within network marketing. And I have become almost the face and the name you talk about when you mention Forex. Like, we talk about Forex, like nobody was talking about it until Branden started talking about it. Nobody, not on social media, nowhere. I understood what I had done, and it was just the opportunity. It wasn't because I was special or like I was better than anybody. I was just first to the party. That's it. I was first to the party. I might not even been first to the party, Trent. I was the first person to start dancing at the party. There were people already in there, but when I understood what it was, I said, y'all ain't goofing to this. Y'all better come on. And then everybody else, you know what happened when one person started dancing? 2 people started dancing. 3 people started dancing. Now it's a party. So I really just came and started the party up. It was already music playing and people in there, but they wasn't trying to have a good time with it. And all I did was come in and I showed that we could add the culture to it, and people had a good time actually educating and pushing Forex. So in a nutshell, that's, I know I was pretty long-winded on that response, but
that was solid. That was like when you went from like, that's when you entered like the trillionaire Tomp phase. I remember when I first saw you on Instagram, you were trillionaire Tomp, and that's when I was like, yo, I'm looking through your page, I'm seeing you speak at the New York experience. I'm like, yo, he's really doing it. Like 200 people. Like that's how I'm like, that's what I'm like, bro, I want to do that. That was like really like, it was just crazy to see in 8 months from 6 figures a year to 6 figures a month. That's wild. And I want to just ask, I want to touch on the transition from being trillionaire Tom to, Sir Trilly. Okay, now being a new music artist and, like being different, like most artists I listen to right now are all talking the same thing: drugs, females, money, guns, robbing, whatever. And I mean, of course, it's popular, but you came in and obviously you could have been just like another artist. First of all, has music been something that you've always wanted to pursue? And what made you do it in the way that you decided to, put your little je ne sais quoi on?
Right. Well, I feel like I've always, I'll say this: music isn't super like far-fetched for me. It isn't far-fetched. It isn't something that's obvious or blatant, but I mean, I've been freestyling my whole life. You know what I'm saying? That's just a pastime. You're from Houston, Mo City, like that's just the culture. Like we've been freestyling for years. And so, even my grandmother, she loves like live instruments and live music, so she always used to play jazz. And, it's always been a thing. Music has always been something that's like, I understand. I remember my grandma used to, help me identify certain like instruments in the band. And we used to just like play games in the car and just listen and identify instruments. So it was always kind of like, but I was never like, oh yeah, I want to be an artist. It was just like, that was something I remember though. Like, I know like music was a undertone of my life. It's like, it was there, but it wasn't something that I was like trying to become like an artist or like a producer or anything. But as far as like getting into it 100%, it really was like very organic. Like, shout out to the Gladiator Slice Hits. I partnered with a videographer back in 2020, and what happened was I ended up moving back to Cali because, okay, so I was living in Cali. I moved to Cali 2016. I moved out of Cali not necessarily, but I finished up my lease and I put my stuff in storage February 2020. And I went to London. And I was like, okay, I was on a tour within that time frame. So I was like, I'm not going to be coming back and forth. I was spending more time on the road than at my crib. So I was like, I'm not going to sign another lease. So I end up leaving. Corona happens. And I end up staying in Atlanta for a few weeks. Came to Houston. I know you remember that time because that's when I got the Airbnb with Amani and Morgan and Troy. Yeah, we did. That was a great time. I actually loved that moment in our journey. It was a very, very great moment.
That was the first time I actually like talked to you in person. Like had I was like a Platinum 2000. I definitely remember that very vividly for sure.
Yeah, that was a great time in the business. And so, you know, I stayed there for about a month. A lot of success happened while I was there. A lot of momentum came about while we was collabing during that time. And then I went to Cali. And when I went back to Cali, I was like, why did I leave? Like, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay, yeah, let me go ahead and get, you know, another crib out here. And you got to think, when I left, so I was a Chairman 100 when I left my apartment. So the same apartment I was working at Boeing at, I didn't leave till I was a Chairman 100. So now I have a different perspective and I'm like, oh snap, I'm low key rich, bro. Like I can turn up on my lifestyle a little bit because Corona kind of like slowed me down. It wasn't just work, work, work. Now it's like, dang, I can actually enjoy the fruits of my labor, bro. Like I got way more money. And so I end up coming back to Cali, getting inspired. And I said, let me start, you know, documenting my life and really showing people what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. And I wanted to do a day in the life. And I wanted it to be not so super cliche. I wanted it to be like almost like a real show, like an intro and all that. And so I was like, okay, how can I do the intro? I wanted to be super like me, but also like a different side of myself without me actually doing it. So what I mean by that is like, I was like, okay, I knew Eric Bellinger. Eric Bellinger, that's my big bro. I hit him up for him to actually do my intro on my day in the life. And he's like, yeah, absolutely. I'll do it. Just send me the beat and like what you want me to say and I got you. So I said, okay, cool. We can get the beat. That's easy. Then I started thinking, how am I going to tell him to sing a song based off of my life? You know, that's where it got weird. And I said, okay, I got to do it myself. And shout out to Slice because he definitely encouraged and gassed me up and said, yeah, bro, I heard you freestyle the other night in the back of the crib by the pool. Like you was killing it. You can do this. So I'm like, all right, bet, let's do it. So, you know, hence, you know, the intro, Back at Zero, that was something we like literally wrote in a day. And I recorded it like a week later. It was fire. Everybody loved it. They didn't believe it was me. And they was like, you got more. And then that's when I said, okay, well, let me go ahead and just make music, but let it be themed in financial literacy. That's what I was inspired by at the time, because that's what my life was. That's what I had experienced. So, you know, I was like, it wasn't that I was trying to like, oh yes, let me be the savior to the music world. Like, it wasn't even that. It was just more so like, you know, I don't know. I have friends that sell drugs. I have friends that have lived that life and are still living that life, but that's not my life. You know what I'm saying? I'm familiar with it. I understand why people do certain things, but that wasn't my life and it's not how I came up. So I had to, you know, make music that was real to me and true to me. So that's why I initially said, okay, cool. Let me start making music that's true to me. And then it so happened to be something that the music industry actually needs and the world needs. They need to hear more positivity in the music. And I just ran with it. And now it's just put me in a different space to be like, okay, now I got all these different verticals. You got Branden Thomson, you know, the philanthropist who might give away a scholarship. You got Trillionaire Tom, who I feel like is more of my ego as far as multi-level marketing. The Trillionaire Tom is That's Chairman 250,
yes.
Branden Thomson. And then you got Sir Trilly, which is, you know, my artistry side, right? So, but the beautiful thing about all those alter egos is that they all work together in conjunction, where, you know what I'm saying, even if I'm Sir Trilly, I still might give you the same feeling of Trillionaire Tom, just in a different way.
Yeah.
Or even if I'm Branden Thomson, I might say something that still aligns with Sir Trilly and Trillionaire Tom. So it's I didn't want to be something different, but I did want to have different platforms to express myself differently. Because the way I am in Branden Thomson, I'm not Trillionaire Tom. I'm not gonna talk to everybody like MLM, build a team, whatever. But I still am on the business side, and I could, you know, still have those conversations. And then Sir Trilly, I can go anywhere with that. That could be movies, that could be whatever. And I feel like everybody needs to be able to, you know, diversify themselves as a person. Like, okay, cool. You don't have to just be trend. You could be trillionaire. You could be Sir Trini. I don't know what you want to do, but the sky is the limit. You know what I'm saying? I might have a different alter ego next week. I don't know. But what I realized is that most great artists, they have multiple alter egos. You know, you got Beyonce, she's
Sasha
B, she's Beyonce, she's Sasha Fierce, right? You got Jay-Z, he's Hove, he's Jigga, you know, he's Sean Carter, you know what I'm saying? You got Diddy, he's Puffy, he's P. Diddy, right? He's Sean Puffy Combs, right? You got all these different, you got 2 Chainz, Titty Boy, you got LaFlame, Travis Scott, you got Lil Tucci, Lil Wayne. You feel me? You got all these people are different entities, and they really not the same person. Like Lil Tucci and Lil Wayne is not the same person. I promise you it's not. And we don't got to break that down because I'm a Lil Wayne fan, but it's different. Like, it's really just like Beyonce and Sasha Fierce. They're really 2 different people. Like, they have 2 totally different angles. Same flavor, but different angle.
Facts. That's honestly, that's a perfect way to really put it and really bring everything together. To wrap this up, I want to ask one last question. What 3 books or audios you think have had the most significant impact on your life, and why?
Okay. So Think and Grow Rich, Outwitting the Devil, and the last one would have to be the Celestine Prophecy. Celestine Prophecies first. That was probably the first book that I read that I kind of apply to my life still to this day. So that book specifically teaches you about insights on life, about like yourself and how, you know, you communicate with other people, right? Understanding the different types of people. You got poor me, intimidator, and interrogator. And I probably did a training on this because it came from the book, right? And understanding those different types of people, but understanding the insights of life that formulate those types of people and why those experiences have caused them to be this way, and understanding their communication style so that you can manipulate the conversation in a relationship based off of knowing those insights. So that book is about finding those. This man is on the search for finding all those insights so that he can understand how to communicate with everybody in the world. And that's like, it's just very, it's very like prominent right now. It's so like spot on. It's like I've grown a business of thousands of people, and I have so many different relationships, and there's so many different personalities and, you know, walks of life that I have to deal with. So, you know, being able to manipulate certain conversations and relationships, not in a bad way, but in a way that's beneficial for everybody, has definitely helped me in my leadership role within this space. Think and Grow Rich. Think and Grow Rich was, you know, Napoleon Hill. Like, he definitely changed my life. Just watching him, that book, and then watching him on YouTube and just listening to him. But, you know, Think and Grow Rich just gives you the fundamentals of manifestation and the power of the tongue, and, you know, the things that you're thinking about, thoughts becoming things, and actually being intentional about your success, and it not being an accident, but you but you actually understanding like just the fundamentals that it takes to be successful and applying those things over and over and over again. And then the last one would be Outwitting the Devil. That one just definitely, it gave me a mirror. It held it up, showed me who I used to be, and then showed me a little bit of who I currently was in a sense of there's this they refer to them in the book as drifters, right? These are people that just are literally floating through life aimlessly, not really understanding what's going on, right? So you could be drifting, just going to work every day, not trying to, open up a business or create another stream of income, just going through the motions of life. You're drifting, right? You can be in a relationship and you just get lost in the relationship, you drifting, right? But people, 98% of the world are drifting. Or it's drifting at one point in time, whether you not going to the gym and you drifting away, or you going to the club every night, you drifting. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, let me understand that I am a human and I'm gonna drift at one point or another, but it's understanding that you're drifting so you can stop drifting and focus. And then also understanding like how the world is controlled, through the government, education system, and the church. It just kind of blew my mind when I read the book, and it definitely changed the way I view myself and I view everybody else that's operating in that same system. So I think those 3 books, for sure, if you just read those and those are the only books you read in your life, you'll be completely fine. In the Bible, for sure. The Bible, that's a bonus. Go ahead and throw that on there. You can always find, because the Bible is really just the same. Like all these other books are just watered down versions of the Bible. They're just taken somewhere in the Bible. That book is biting somewhere, some chapter somewhere. Like, so the Bible is the source, but those 3 books specifically, I feel like if anybody reads them like and applies it, like it'll change your life for sure.
Jeez. I've never heard of this. Are you saying the
The Celestine Prophecy. It's Celestine prophecy.
Prophecy. Okay, I'm actually got to look into that. All right.
Yeah, check that out.
You have any last words for us before we call it a night, BT?
Man, I'm just, I'm super grateful to be here, be a light, be an example of what's possible. Somebody would have told me 5 years ago, hey, Branden, once you graduate college, you're going to actually walk off your job. You're going to become a millionaire, inspire everybody to start investing and trading and traveling the world and becoming entrepreneurs. I would have said you were lying. I wouldn't have believed you. I knew I was destined for greatness, but sometimes it's hard for you to see it when you're in your current circumstance. So for anybody listening that doesn't think that what they want or that feeling inside that they're supposed to be greater, if you feel like that's not possible, let this story be like an example that it is, because I was literally in college for 8 years, miserable, thinking I was behind, thinking that I wasn't going to be what I thought I was going to be. And I end up passing everybody up that I was looking at on Instagram, and I was looking at around me, and understanding that your journey is your journey. And as long as you run your race, then you're going to get to your destination.
Okay, that was a word. Okay, that was a really, 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 really strong way to end this off. Thank you so much for your time, Branden.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate you having this conversation. I really do. I did learn a lot about you, so I even gained a lot of value. I can't wait to read that book. And thank you, everyone, for listening. Make sure you tune in. We have another episode coming really, really, really soon, and I appreciate you all. And yeah, we're gonna call that a episode. All right, stop the recording.